make me actually think of all the process. I'm like a self-made entrepreneur, right? This is my first company is going to be 11 years old pretty soon. I run outsourcing. I started because I wanted to, because I had the opportunity. And over the years, I developed a lot of software. I employed people. I made some teams. I made some pretty decent money. And then I decided to waste that money on starting startups. And that's been interesting because there's always a difference between building for a customer and building a product for mass market. I mean, everybody should aim for mass market. If you're going to start a startup by doing tailor-made stuff or for a very small amount of people, then you're probably not going to try. So I discovered slowly but surely what it means to have a startup. My previous one, Gamillion, was a platform about creating your own game. Anybody could create their own game. And it was great. We had the traction, we had the partners, well, we had Mozilla. We had the 11 Accelerator giving us some money. I had a pretty good team. Going everywhere in every single pitching competition, I got first prize. First prize. The best was at Intel Global Challenge, $15,000, 2 out of 8 prizes out of 16,000 companies. We had 0 revenue. We failed in around a year or so. That happens. Cash flow matters, man. Cash flow. We had offers, obviously. People understood the concept that with our platform you can build games, but they didn't really care to make their own game. They wanted us to make their games. And they wanted for us to do it at a fee that was simply not sustainable. So at the end of the day, tough luck. Now, there's a long discussion there about product market fit and how things should be a little bit verified with actual customers. So my next startup, I built with the customers from my first startup. Market research, insurance brokerage. Boring as hell, but quite lucrative. So I pitched the idea of a new product to the guys from market research for creating surveys. And initially they were like, yeah, okay, build it and then we'll see, maybe, I don't know, something. So I decided to build nothing and do nothing about it because I wanted validation on many levels there. So 6 months later, they actually got together to convince me and the people I had to employ to build a product, which was great. All of a sudden they understood the value and they understood a few things. Number one, that they had to pay upon deadline, that they had to be partners, which meant that they had to provide testing and feedback, and they had to be on board with us all the way. So those were the first customers. So we started building the product with them. And 2 medium-sized market research companies, one in Romania, one in Moldavia, the country. And they started doing quite some nice stuff on it. We reached 41.5 million answers collected with the platform a few, I think this is around a week ago. But the interesting niche wasn't there. That's the interesting thing about product market fit, right? You build something that is about very intelligent surveys. And I'm not going to get into why this is so interesting there, but I can tell you that they can do stuff really fast compared to other platforms. But the problem with market research is that even though it's a 4 billion a year business, there are too few players, too few. And most of them are so big that they impose on their companies things like, we need to use this solution, which is going to cost a shitload of money, but we're going to use it. And all of the companies, all of the subsidiaries are going to use it. So one like us going to their company saying, you can change the world with this, they didn't care. So we made some money on our partners with this, and what was actually a lot more important was the feedback and the testing. Because I have to admit it, one of our partners at one point said, if I would have known what it would have meant to develop a product from day one with a development team, even though we had to ask a few questions because we had around 8 years of developing such products in general. But they said, if we would have known this from the start, we would have never started it. And I love that. It was a great feedback because at the end of the day, they continued to do it, which meant that the product had value. So they continued to use it. It's great to have pissed off customers. it's great. Because if they continue, then your product is better than their anchor. And you want your product to be that good. So I think it's pretty good over there. But we had to go into insurance brokerage because we had customers over there. I pitched it to them also. And I remember the first customer, and I said, I'm going to show you this product. You can build the form by which you can quote your customers. And there are these smart little bits that allow you as a non-technical person, non-developer, but just with an analytical mindset, to define how much a person should be quoted. So essentially, it's like filling up a insurance form for cars, right? And they ask you a lot of questions, then there's some complex stuff in the background that essentially tells you you need to pay us this much every month, or this is the yearly premium. And I told them the price, how much they're supposed to pay for it, and I remember they didn't get back to me afterwards. And I had to call them back, and they were like, Victor, this is expensive. And I'm like, listen, I'm going to show you over Skype. I'm going to do a Skype remote desktop. I'm going to share my desktop. You give me your form, and I'll do that form in front of you. And you're going to see how that works. And half an hour into that discussion, I already did more than half of that form right in front of them. And they've seen that it didn't require you to be a developer. So we never discussed about price again, which was another great thing. Now, we have been great so far at building a product, I think. And we have paying customers, quite a few. There are actually few. And we need to have a lot more. What's the interesting thing here? I'm personally looking for a senior developer. And that was essentially the pitch of this talk. I'm looking for a senior developer to join the team. Now, why am I doing that? Because, number one, it is needed. We do need such things. And number two, we're going to get funded. Once we get a few requirements in place, and the senior developer needs to be quite good. So we need to reach a certain point and get funding from pretty relevant people right here. We've graduated MVP Academy recently. Maybe you heard about it. It's this event done by the guys doing How to Web. Pretty good guys, and I love their zero bullshit policy. They're great. They're great at what they do, and also the people there, and I have great respect for them. And I must admit, speaking of Radu Georgescu, somebody mentioned? You mentioned him. 5th of January of this year, I sent Radu Georgescu an email half a year before. Half a year later, he replies, you're great, 2 weeks, that's a great time, man.
Someone introduced us. Was your cold email or just someone introduced you?
I've met him before, but I wouldn't say we were close enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, patience is a virtue. 6 months later, I get the call and I go to him. And in 45 minutes, given where we were at back then, he completely demolishes my product. Like completely. Exact words were, you're highly uninvestable.
Wow.
But did that help? Was there anything constructive in the discussion? Because with us it was the same, but most of the points are very constructive for us.
That's what I meant.
The problem for us, for me, sorry, I'm interrupting you, but remember the listening slide? My partner was not ready to listen to Radu Georgescu. And we had a problem afterwards, and I gave him specific feedback to my friend, saying, look, that guy said that. Do you understand what he's saying? I mean, do you really get the idea? I mean, because otherwise you're going to be in your small ivory tower and no one will fund you. So sorry, I'm just...
What was interesting was that I had 1 hour with him. I was late 15 minutes. It was the 5th of fucking January. It was his first meeting probably in the whole year. And here comes this guy willing to show him a product. 15 minutes late. Yeah, great patience. And it was this guy right on the right-hand side of me.
Yeah, there's always someone else.
There's always somebody, and that's a great thing. Whenever I go and I pitch in the competitions, I always have a person by my side to tell me what's the atmosphere, what do people want to hear, what they want to listen, because I need to sell to them at the end of the day, right? I need to sell to them, and I need to have that achievement in that competition. So he was doing the same thing, like another pair of eyes. And it took me around 15 minutes to essentially realize that I wasn't prepared to present him the product while I was still speaking. And then he took around 20 minutes to draw on a board that from around 7 points that we had to hit, we only hit 1 from his point of view. Given that my presentation was really sucky, I mean, I really wasn't so prepared for, he's a really competent guy. He knows his stuff, he does his homework. And I just wasn't prepared to show him the value of the product. I got lost into so many details that he generally didn't get to understand much of it. And he gave me his feedback from what he understood, and it was great feedback. And at that point, we only covered 1 out of 7 points from the blackboard. And I think we've been doing a great job at filling in the other in the meantime. And I must admit, discussing with the guys from MVP Academy, this is the thing about people that don't treat you with bullshit. It's so easy for somebody to come and tell you great stuff. Great stuff. With Gamilian, I heard that all the time. Intel fucking Global Challenge, right? Great event. Don't get me wrong. Silicon Valley, Berkeley, a lot of people, great VCs. But they avoid confrontation. And when somebody comes in and delivers a very nice pitch, if they're going to get the wrong answers to some difficult questions, they're not going to come and tell you, dude, why don't you start doing something else? You're wasting your time. They don't. Because some people will take it personally, as your partner did, and that's foolish. You shouldn't take it personally. Of course, there are going to be people who are going to be complete assholes. That's on them. But you need to just take the best of what you see over there. If you're going to be pissed off that somebody's giving you, shit over there and telling you you're failing at this, then if you're going to take it personally, okay, then you probably shouldn't be in business anyway, because you shouldn't take it personally. As she said with customers, don't take that personally. If somebody's not going to pay you in time, or you're going to be dependent on one customer, well, why did you put yourself in that situation? Maybe you should do something better. Maybe more customers are a better solution. Live and learn. It's a great experience. So long story short, this is my, I need to wrap it up. So this is my experience over the years, and I think this is my 3rd startup, and I think it's probably the best setup I've had so far. It was great that even with our previous investors, we didn't even, they were willing to invest in this startup too. We didn't really, they felt there was best effort, and I think that's what it's about every time. Doing your best, learning your best, and doing better and better. As much as you can, as much as you understand. So I think that, it's a great time to have a startup. Great time. So I thank you very much for your time. If you know anyone that is into development, software development, Node.js, I would be very keen on meeting that person. It's about salary and it's about stock in the company, because we would be officially setting it up as a company this time. Until now, we've been essentially billing on my initial outsourcing company. So if you know anyone, it would be great. If not, thank you anyway for your time. Hope it helped. So thank you.